The Wanderer drifts through the endless expanse of space, its hull scarred with the memory of countless battles. Scratches and scorched patches mar its once pristine surface, a silent testament to its resilience. Inside, the air feels stale, the hum of the failing systems an unsteady rhythm beneath the broken lights that flicker intermittently. The shadows seem to stretch and pulse with an eerie life of their own, swallowing the broken corridors and rusted walls. Outside the ship, the void is absolute. No stars, no planets, only the oppressive blackness, and the Wanderer, a solitary speck of defiance in the vast, indifferent cosmos. Here, there is no safety, only the threat of lurking danger in every dark corner. Silence reigns, but it's a silence teeming with the weight of countless untold stories. A sharp beat breaks the stillness. The ship's internal systems sputter, warning of imminent failure. Something is closing in, something big. Inside the dimly lit cockpit, Durin grips the control stick, his eyes narrowed, scanning the stars. His face, rugged and weathered, betrays a life lived on the edge. A rogue pilot by nature, his past is a twisted mess of betrayal and survival. He's always been one step ahead of the Dominion, the shadowy empire that hunts him, that hunts anyone who dares to defy its rule. Today, though, it feels different. Today, the odds are no longer in his favor. Beside him, hovering silently in the air, is Bolt. The hovering AI drone, always quick with a sarcastic remark, is one of the few things that keeps Durin from losing his mind. Its mechanical body is sleek and smooth, a far cry from the chaos of the ship, but it's far from just a tool. It's a constant companion, its hollow voice cutting through the tension. Well, this is fun.
You ever think we'd go out like this, Captain? Drift through space, taking one last nap in the void? Durin doesn't answer. His mind is elsewhere, on the past, on the present, on the danger that looms closer with every passing second. Seraph, the ship's AI, cuts through the tension. Her voice is a ghostly echo in the ship's failing systems, struggling to keep everything intact, to keep them alive. Seraph, warning, systems are at critical failure, shields at 15%, engine output below minimum threshold. I recommend evasive maneuvers. Durin's hand tightens on the control stick. Durin, evasive? What evasive? The Dominion's on our tail, and we're running out of options. The distant stars begin to warp as the massive silhouette of the Dominion warship looms into view, its dark form cutting through space with terrifying precision. Its sleek, menacing design sends a shiver down Durin's spine. Bolt, oh joy, a welcome party. I bet they brought cake. But Durin doesn't laugh. He's seen this ship before, and he knows what it means. No mercy. The communication system crackles to life. A cold voice breaking through the static. Dominion officer, over comm. This is Commander Rask of the Dominion. Surrender your vessel and prepare to be boarded. Resistance is futile. Durin's grip on the control stick tightens, his knuckles turning white. Durin, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. The engines of the Wanderer sputter, coughing and wheezing in the face of impending doom. Durin slams his fist against the control panel. There's no way out. Not now. Bolt, sarcastically. Odds of escape? Less than 2%. You'll love those odds. The red lights in the cockpit flash as the Dominion warship closes the gap. Every second feels like an eternity. Durin's eyes dart from the controls to the view screen, calculating his next move, but the reality sets in. There's no escape. Seraph, engines at failure, boarding rift detected. The Dominion is preparing to board. Durin stands up abruptly, his face hardening. He knows what comes next. It's a matter of survival now, not escape. The Wanderer shudders as the Dominion's boarding rift opens, a massive, glowing tear in the fabric of space. Soldiers step through, clad in black armor, their faces hidden behind helmets that reflect only the cold light of space. Durin doesn't hesitate. He grabs his pulse pistol from its holster, the weapon feeling almost too light in his hand. He's outnumbered, and he knows it. But desperation breeds creativity. Every battle fought, every ship lost, he's learned something new, something the Dominion never expected from a rogue pilot. He takes cover behind a shattered console as the first shots ring out, the sound of plasma blasts filling the air. The crew of the Wanderer is about to face its darkest hour, but Durin isn't going down without a fight. Bolt, quietly. Well, this is where we die, isn't it? Durin, grimly. Not yet. Not today. The Dominion soldiers advance, but they don't know the man they're up against. Humanity may have been the underdog, but no one had ever expected them to fight back this fiercely. This was their moment, their last stand. The sharp screech of metal against metal rips through the air as the Borden hatch of the Wanderer ruptures. The ship shudders violently as the massive breach tears through its walls, sending sparks flying in every direction. Before Durin can react, the Dominion forces flood in like a tide of cold, relentless steel, their boots thudding heavily against the deck. But the victory is short-lived. The soldiers quickly adapt again, finding shelter behind the wreckage and pressing forward once more. One of them triggers a secondary blast, throwing Durin off balance for a moment. The sound of an airlock hissing open catches his attention. He watches as the enemy soldiers begin to advance toward it, clearly unaware of the unstable vacuum door. Durin smirks, a final surprise. Durin smiling darkly. Let's see, they're not the usual grunt soldiers. Their armor gleams with the dark, reflective sheen of something far beyond the Wanderer's outdated tech. Their movements are calculated, synchronized, as if they've rehearsed this moment 1,000 times. Standard blaster fire ricochets harmlessly off their plates, and they continue their advance. Their weapons raised with deadly precision. Durin's breath catches in his throat as he dives behind a crate, his mind racing for options. Bolt hovers beside him, its metallic body flickering as it scans the incoming forces with calculated indifference. Bolt. Bad news, Captain. Looks like we're facing the elite. I'd call that a major nope on the escape plan. Durin curses under his breath, his fingers tightening around his pulse pistol. Didn't sign up for this. Again. The cargo bay is chaotic, filled with the acrid smell of burning circuits and the staccato hum of energy shields. The Wanderer may be scarred, but it's still his ship, and he'll be damned before he lets it fall to these cold-blooded invaders. Durin watches the soldiers advancing, noting their exposed joints and the thin, slotted sections on their visors. There's always a weak spot, always. He takes a deep breath, steadies his aim, and opens fire, blasting the closest soldier in the shoulder. The armor deflects most of the impact, but the soldier staggers, clearly injured. Durin, "Come on, you bastards! Let's see how you like this." But the Dominion soldiers are quick to adapt. They shift their formation, becoming more cautious, methodical. No longer are they charging blindly. They're calculating, seeking cover, and moving with terrifying precision. It's clear these aren't standard grunts. They've trained for this. Bolt, quietly. "I can't hack their armor, but I can give you something better. One moment, Captain." Bolt whirs and zips to a nearby terminal, tapping into the Wanderer's failing systems. Suddenly, the lights flicker, plunging the room into darkness before emergency bulkheads slam down with a resounding crash. cutting off access to some of the soldiers. Durin, grinning slightly. Nice work, Bolt. Now let's turn up the heat. But even with the room in disarray, the Dominion soldiers move too fast. They're relentless, pressing forward with an unsettling calm. They're training more than a match for the chaos Durin is creating. Durin's eyes dart around the bay, seeking anything that could turn the tide. He spots a row of crates stacked precariously in the corner, some marked with the dangerous symbols of volatile chemicals. Durin smiles grimly. He knows exactly what to do. With a few precise shots, he sends crates crashing to the floor, their contents spilling out in a massive explosion of fire and debris. The bay turns into a battlefield of flame, smoke, and shrapnel, forcing the Dominion soldiers to retreat, at least momentarily. Bolt. Now that is what I call a party. How you handle a little space exposure? He pulls a lever, sending the airlock into rapid decompression. The force of the airlock's opening sucks several soldiers into the void. Their screams cut off in an instant as they are expelled into the cold emptiness of space. Bolt, beeping in approval. Told you, vacuum exposure, highly effective. But the victory is fleeting. The remaining Dominion soldiers pause, regroup, and begin adapting again, showing no sign of fear, just pure, cold professionalism. This is a fight Durin may not win. The sound of the ship's emergency alarms blares throughout the cargo bay as Seraph, the ship's AI, takes control. She's been managing the Wanderer's systems under extreme duress, but now she's locking down corridors and creating blockades, hoping to limit the Dominion's progress. Seraph, lockdown in progress, kill zones activated, expect resistance. The walls of the ship tremble as force fields slam into place, sealing off sections of the ship to create choke points. Durin knows the Dominion's elite soldiers will have a way to override her defenses, but every moment they're delayed is a moment he has to think, to strategize. The pressure is mounting, but he won't give up, not now. However, the Dominion forces begin overriding Seraph's countermeasures with disturbing ease. They push forward, relentless, unstoppable. Durin, damn it, we need a new plan, now. The countdown to failure is in motion, and he can feel the walls closing in. His last escape route is almost gone. He's running out of time and options. Through the smoke and chaos, a new figure steps into the breach. Taller, faster, and far more dangerous than the others. His movements are fluid, precise. He's not here to fight, he's here to disable. Durin feels a chill run down his spine. This is no ordinary soldier. Bolt, scanning him. This is bad. This is very, very bad. The figure's eyes lock onto Durin, and in that moment, Durin knows. This is the man sent to end it all. The specialist isn't here for a firefight. He's here to tear the Wanderer apart from the inside, to shut it down, to end everything Durin has fought for. The Dominion forces fall back, giving him room to operate. Durin watches helplessly as the specialist approaches the ship's core systems, cutting through Seraph's countermeasures like a hot knife through butter. The ship's defenses are crumbling, and Durin realizes the battle isn't just for survival anymore. It's for control. The Wanderer is about to be lost, and with it, everything. Durin feels the weight of the situation settling in his chest like a stone. The Wanderer is locked down, a force field surrounding it, cutting off any hope of escape. He tries to reach the escape pods, but they're sealed. The specialist has already bypassed all of Seraph's remaining defenses and is deep into the ship's systems now. With every step the specialist takes, the walls of the Wanderer close tighter around Durin's fate. He's running out of time. His ship, his sanctuary, is being torn apart, and with it, the last sliver of hope. Durin, desperately, "What are you doing?" The specialist looks over his shoulder, his expression cold, devoid of emotion. Specialist, finishing what your kind started. As the specialist enters the heart of the ship's control room, Durin knows that this is it. The Wanderer is no longer his to command. The fight for survival has just begun. The Wanderer is a darkened maze, its halls twisting and buckling under the strain of its own damage. The ship groans with every step, a low, constant sound that resonates like a dying creature. The flickering lights overhead offer only brief glimpses of the chaos around them, half-broken machinery, sparks shooting from exposed wires, and the occasional hiss of gas escaping from a ruptured pipe. Durin moves through the corridors like a shadow, always one step ahead of the Dominion squads hunting him. His pulse pistol is ready, but he knows better than to rely solely on it now. Bolt hovers beside him, its small form darting from one corner to the next, scanning for danger, analyzing, calculating. Bolt, dryly, "Odds of surviving this hallway? 35%. You're a gambler, Captain." Durin, under his breath, "Gambler or not, we're running out of options, Bolt." The ship shudders again, a deep vibration that rattles the walls. Another system has failed, life support this time. The temperature drops, and Durin pulls his coat tighter around him. There's a dangerous calm settling over him now. He's been in tight spots before, but this is different. The ship is collapsing around them, and with every hallway, every step closer to the engine room, the chances of survival shrink. But he keeps moving. The mission hasn't changed. If he can reach the engine room, he might be able to jerry-rig the Wanderer's core and make a run for it. But that's assuming the Dominion don't catch him first. A sound, quiet, almost imperceptible, alerts Durin. His instincts kick in, and he whips around, just in time to see a dark figure slip into the shadows of a nearby doorway. Durin, gritting his teeth, "We've got company." The figure is fast, too fast, a blur of motion, like something more than human. Durin's eyes narrow as he sees the glint of augmented cybernetics, enhanced limbs, glowing implants. This is no ordinary soldier. The engineer is a specialist, someone designed for situations like this. His armor is sleek, almost organic, and his movements are a perfect balance of precision and speed. Bolt's sensors whirred alive, scanning the new threat, and an ominous beep echoes in the air. Bolt, urgently, "Captain, this isn't just a soldier, it's a test. He's equipped with countermeasures designed to thwart every move you make." Durin grits his teeth, frustration boiling beneath the surface. He can't outrun him. He can't outfight him. His mind races, calculating the risks. Durin, to himself, "Time to outthink him." The engineer doesn't wait. He strikes, his hand a blur as he throws a blade from his wrist. The weapon is a thin, serrated edge that cuts through the air with a deadly hum. Durin ducks just in time, the blade grazing his shoulder, but the engineer is already moving again, closing the distance. The hallway becomes a battleground. Every turn, every narrow corner, a potential death trap. Durin doesn't just fight with his pistol. He fights with his mind, forcing himself to think 3 moves ahead, anticipating the engineer's every action. Durin tries a feint, ducking behind a corner, and firing as the engineer rounds it. But the engineer anticipates the move, rolling to the side and dodging with terrifying ease. Bolt, snarky. You know, if you're trying to survive, you might want to stop letting him set the pace. Durin doesn't answer. Instead, he opens a nearby panel and fires a burst of energy from the Wanderer's failing systems. Sparks fly as the blast knocks the engineer back for a moment, but it's only a brief setback. The augmented soldier's body flickers as if resetting itself, adapting to Rin, smiling grimly. There's more than one way to win a fight. In the next moment, Durin takes a risk. He activates the ship's gravity disruptors and the corridor shifts, becoming weightless for a brief, chaotic moment. The engineer stumbles, disoriented. Durin uses the opportunity, darting forward and kicking the engineer into a nearby console. But the moment of chaos is fleeting. The engineer adapts, rolling with the impact and coming back to his feet with unnerving speed. Bolt, sarcastically. I don't know if I should be impressed or terrified. Probably both. Drin doesn't have time to appreciate the comment. The fight is far from over, and the engineer is getting faster, smarter, more dangerous with every passing second. Outside, beyond the hull of the Wanderer, the dark void of space is broken by the silhouette of a Dominion warship. It's massive, a black shape that dwarfs the Wanderer, blotting out the distant stars. The ship's guns glint ominously, and Durin feels a sinking feeling in his stomach. The Wanderer is already on borrowed time, and now reinforcements are minutes away. Bolt, seriously. That's our window, Captain. We don't have much time. The Dominion ship doesn't need to say anything. Its very presence is a threat. The looming warship's weapons can shatter the Wanderer in seconds, and Durin knows that if they don't do something soon, they'll be overwhelmed. He checks his options. There aren't many. The engine room is their best bet, but it's locked down, and the engineer is still pursuing him. Seraph's voice crackles through the comms, distorted by the damage to the ship, but it's unmistakable. Seraph, calmly, Captain, I have a solution. It's a long shot, but it may work. Durin listens, his heart pounding. Seraph suggests decompressing key sections of the ship, blowing out the atmosphere in several zones to create massive vacuum pockets. It's a brutal strategy, but it could destabilize the Dominion forces long enough for them to escape. Durin, shaking his head. That'll rip the Wanderer apart. You're talking about a complete collapse. Bolt, matter of fact. It'll rip them apart too. It's a terrible plan, but it might be the only one we have. Durin stands in silence, weighing the decision. He knows the risks, both for the crew and the ship, but he also knows the price of failure. There's no turning back now. Durin, steeling himself. Do it! The emergency decompression sequence begins with a deafening roar, the sound of metal screaming against the force of the vacuum. Durin grips the nearest support beam as the ship's systems begin to fail, sucking the very air out of the corridors. Outside, the vacuum of space rushes in, pulling the Dominion soldiers into the void. They scream in terror, their bodies ripped from the safety of the Wanderer, but the ship is tearing apart with them. Half of the Wanderer's oxygen is gone in an instant, leaving the remaining survivors gasping for breath. Bolt, in awe. Well, I didn't think that would actually work. But it does work. Sort of. The engineer, though battered, survives, floating in the zero-gravity corridor. He's badly damaged, but Durin knows better than to assume victory. The Wanderer is still under siege, and now The Dominion warship is locking onto them. Durin, grimly, "We're not out of this yet." The Wanderer shudders again, the warship closing in fast. It's a race against time, and Durin can only pray that their last gamble will buy them enough time to escape. The Wanderer shudders violently, its hull creaking as if it might tear apart at any second. Inside, the flickering lights cast long, distorted shadows, each burst of sparks from damaged systems adding to the sense of impending doom. The smell of burnt circuits and ionized air fills the narrow corridors as Durin stumbles through the wreckage. His heart beats in his chest like a war drum, adrenaline pumping through his veins. Every second feels like it could be his last. He glances at the control panel in front of him. Sparks leap from it as the ship's core continues to break down. System after system fails. Life support, shields, weapons, each failure a death sentence. The Wanderer is a dying ship, and the Dominion warship outside is closing in, its massive bulk blocking out the stars like a monstrous predator circling its prey. Durin, gritting his teeth. "Not like this, not today." His fingers fly over the controls, trying to force the ship's failing systems back to life. But the Dominion's relentless fire continues to pound the hull, further weakening it. Every blast shakes him to the core. The last of his escape options are slipping away. The ship is stuck, locked in a deadly dance with the Dominion. He knows what's coming. They're going to board, and that's the end. But just as he's about to give up hope, a sudden jolt shakes the ship. A violent one. Then the sounds of the Dominion's bombardment suddenly stop. A blinding energy blast rips through the Dominion blockade, a force so powerful it briefly overwhelms Durin's senses. The Wanderer trembles as shock waves from the explosion ripples through the hull, throwing Durin off balance. Through the view screen, he sees it. A sleek, heavily armed ship, impossibly fast, dropping out of hyperspace right in the middle of the chaos. The vessel's weapons are already charging, its blasters flashing as they fire again at the Dominion warship. The Dominion's forces are caught off guard, confusion rippling through their ranks. The warship begins to veer erratically, trying to retaliate, but the incoming fire is too intense. It's clear. Someone just turned the tide in Durin's favor. Durin, whispering disbelief in his voice, "What the hell?" A voice crackles over the comms, breaking through the chaos. Durin stiffens as the familiar gravelly tone fills the air. Kai Valen, over comms. "Durin, you owe me one." The words hit Durin like a punch to the gut. Kai, the rogue bounty hunter, his former partner, the one who betrayed him in the worst possible way. Durin's mind flashes back to the past, the missions gone wrong, the money, the lies, the bitter sting of betrayal. Durin, through clenched teeth. "Kai, you've got a lot of nerve." But as the battle rages on, the Wanderer is still in danger. The Dominion's warship is turning its weapons back on the ship that just intervened, and Durin can't afford to waste time on old grudges. Not when there's a chance for survival. The two ships exchange fire, the distant rumble of explosions vibrating through the walls. Kai's ship is quick, agile, and deadly, its weapons cutting through the Dominion like a hot knife through butter. But Durin knows he's still in a tough spot. Can he trust Kai again? Durin, voice low, conflicted. "You've got a hell of a timing, Kai, but I don't know if I can trust you again." Kai's voice crackles back, no trace of hesitation or apology in it. Kai Valen, smirking over comms. "No time for grudges. Either you move now, or I leave you behind. Bolt's voice cuts through the tension, its mechanical tone devoid of emotion, but with an edge of urgency. Bolt, Captain, this is the best chance we've got. Take it. Durin doesn't have the luxury of overthinking it. The ship is dying, the Dominion closing in. Kai's ship is their only way out. He grits his teeth, swallowing the bitterness, and hits the comms to respond. Durin, reluctantly. All right, Kai, you've got a deal. With Kai providing cover fire, Durin grits his teeth and takes the Wanderer into a sharp, evasive maneuver, ducking under the Dominion's remaining fire. The ship groans as the damaged engines struggle to respond, but Durin doesn't have time to think about that. The only thing that matters is getting out of range, getting to the safety of the stars. Kai's ship hovers above the Wanderer, firing relentlessly at the Dominion warship. Durin pushes the throttle to the limit, making a hard left turn and barely avoiding a direct hit from the warship's cannons. Kai's ship fires again, a pulse blast that strikes the Dominion ship's targeting systems, throwing it into disarray. Durin quickly types in the coordinates for a hyperspace jump. His fingers fly across the controls, sweat dripping down his forehead as the countdown begins. Bolt, urgently. You're almost there. Just a few more seconds. The Wanderer lurches as the ship's engines come online, just barely. The lights flicker once more, but the coordinates are locked, and the final pulse blast from Kai's ship echoes through the hull. Durin, yelling to the crew, "Hold on!" He slams the hyperspace button. The Wanderer lurches violently, and everything goes still as the stars outside stretch and blur into the infinite void. Inside the Wanderer, the crew exhales in relief, but it's short-lived. Durin stares at the view screen, the sudden vastness of space feeling eerily quiet now. He looks over his shoulder at Bolt, whose sensors are still analyzing the warship's last trajectory. Bolt, calmly. We're clear, for now. But Durin's mind is elsewhere. His eyes narrow as the faintest flicker of light appears in the corner of his vision. The last image of the Dominion warship still lingers, its silhouette against the stars, and the faintest red flash, a signal. The Dominion engineer, the one who had pursued Durin and his crew relentlessly, watches from the wreckage of the battle. His cybernetic eye flashes with a dangerous, unsettling red light. Dominion engineer, coldly to himself, "Run while you can, smuggler. We will find you again." As the Wanderer disappears into hyperspace, Durin knows one thing for certain. The fight isn't over, not by a long shot. The Dominion will hunt them down. But for now, he has a moment, a breath, and it's enough to prepare for what comes next. Durin, grimly, let them come. The Wanderer shudders slightly as it emerges from hyperspace. The stars stretch out before them, infinite and silent. Outside, the wreckage of the Dominion warship is barely a speck in the distance. The ship is battered, scarred by fire, and the damage of an escape barely made. The hull is pockmarked with blackened craters, the engine struggling to maintain a steady hum. The crew inside are just as worn, battered by the chaos they've just survived. Durin slumps in his seat, his body heavy with exhaustion, his mind a tangled mess of emotions. His fingers tremble slightly as they hover over the controls, though he's too drained to make any adjustments. The ship and the crew inside it have lived to fight another day, but barely. Narrator, Durin's internal thoughts. We made it. We're alive. But at what cost? The ship's still hanging on, but for how long? The Dominion's forces aren't going to just forget us. The Wanderer, it's barely holding together. Silence fills the cockpit. Outside, the stars twinkle coldly, offering no answers. The weight of their survival hangs heavy in the stillness. They've escaped, but the war isn't over, and Durin knows deep down that it's only a matter of time before the Dominion returns. Durin glances to the side, his eyes narrowing as he turns to the figure beside him, Kai Valen, the rogue bounty hunter, the man who once betrayed him for money, leaving Durin to face the consequences alone. Now, he was the one pulling Durin's bacon out of the fire. Durin, gritting his teeth. Why help me now? He can't shake the suspicion curling in his gut. There's something behind Kai's sudden appearance, something Durin can't quite put his finger on. Kai, leaning against the console, gives a half-hearted shrug, his lips curling into that familiar smirk, the kind that never fully reaches his eyes. Kai Valen, with a smirk. You think I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart? Durin holds his breath, waiting for the punchline. But instead, Kai's expression hardens, and he leans in closer, voice dropping to a more serious tone. Kai Valen, cryptic. The Dominion's just the beginning. A shiver runs down Durin's spine, and he knows there's more to Kai's words than just bravado. The weight of them lingers in the air, and for the first time, Durin feels the chill of something even darker lurking just beyond the stars, and the silence that follows is broken by the sharp, cool voice of Seraph, her presence always like a quiet storm waiting to happen. She steps into the cockpit, her analytical eyes already scanning the damage, her mind racing. Seraph, calm, but grim. The Dominion won't take this lightly. She crosses her arms, her posture tense as she eyes the systems around them. Her tone is one of careful calculation, never one for panic, always thinking 3 steps ahead. Seraph, seriously, they'll come back stronger, and next time, they'll be better prepared. Durin's jaw clenches as he stares out at the void. He knows she's right. There's no way they're getting away that easily. The Dominion is vast and relentless, and this fight is far from over. The weight of that truth is like a stone sinking in his chest. Narrator, Durin's internal thoughts. It's not over. It never is. The Dominion won't stop until they crush us. They'll learn from this, adapt. And when they do, we'll be in their sights again. He feels it, the growing dread, the pressure of a future full of fights that they may not survive. The silence continues for a few moments longer before Kai pushes off the console and steps forward, his boots making a soft thuds against the metal floor. He's a man who's always looking for an edge, always searching for a way to come out on top. Now, it seems, he's offering that edge to Durin, Kai Valen, with a knowing look. You need allies. Durin doesn't respond immediately. Instead, he looks at Kai, trying to read the man's expression, trying to gauge if this is another trap. But Kai just meets his gaze, unflinching, and continues. Kai Valen, gesturing vaguely. I know some people, a hidden network, rebels, mercenaries, outcasts, the kind who hate the Dominion just as much as you do. They'll fight for the right cause, if you can find them. Durin's brow furrows. The last thing he wants is to rely on someone like Kai, but there's no denying the desperation creeping into his veins. They can't keep running forever. They need resources, they need support, and maybe, just maybe, Kai knows where to get it. Kai Valen, leaning closer, voice hard. You want to survive? Then you need to fight smarter and you can't do that alone. Durin considers the offer, feeling the weight of the choice settling over him. The Wanderer might be battered, but it's not finished yet. They still have time, but not much. Durin stares out at the stars, his fingers tracing the edge of the control panel. He hates this, hates the idea of relying on Kai, the same man who left him to die. But the reality is clear. They need help. And right now, Kai's their best shot. Narrator, Durin's internal thoughts. I hate this. I hate that I need him. But if we want a chance at survival, I hate that I need him. But if we want a chance at survival, I don't have a choice. The Dominion will be back, and I can't face them alone. After a long pause, Durin exhales slowly, his shoulders slumping slightly. He's made his decision, and he knows it's the only way forward. Durin, reluctantly, with a heavy sigh. All right, let's find your allies. The words feel like a bitter pill, but he knows it's the right choice. As much as it stings, they can't afford to let pride get in the way. There's a bigger fight ahead, and he'll need every ally he can find. Kai's lips curl into a grin, though there's a flicker of something deeper in his eyes. Respect, maybe? Or maybe just the knowledge that he's won for now. Either way, he turns and heads toward the hatch, already planning the next steps. Kai Valen, with a hint of amusement. Good choice. Trust me, Durin, this is gonna be one hell of a ride. Durin watched him go, a feeling of unease settling in his stomach. He stepped into something much bigger than he realized, and there's no turning back now. The flickering lights of the Dominion flagship's command center cast long shadows over a room filled with the quiet hum of advanced machinery. In front of a massive display screen, high-ranking Commander Durin, tall and unyielding, stares with unwavering intensity at the battle footage playing before him. His cold eyes flick over every frame, every second, calculating, analyzing. The recorded footage shows the Wanderer, Durin's ship, dodging, weaving, and barely escaping the clutches of the Dominion's forces. The sudden appearance of Kai Valen's ship had turned the tide, giving Durin the opening he needed to flee. Commander Durin, his voice low, measured. Interesting. A smuggler, an outlaw, turning the tide for a fugitive. What makes him so important? His fingers twitch, a silent signal for the officers to zoom in on the Wanderer. As the footage magnifies, the ship's scars and battle damage become clearer. His expression remains unreadable, but the atmosphere in the room thickens with anticipation. His gaze flicks over to a map on the far side of the room, detailing the territories and planets controlled by the Dominion. A low hum pulses as if the ship itself senses his deepening focus. The footage continues, but now the attention is drawn to something deeper, something hidden beneath the surface of the mission's objective. The Wanderer is more than just a ship in the commander's mind. It's a key, a symbol of something far more significant than just a random escape. His eyes narrow, and his attention sharpens on one particular moment in the footage, the stolen data they had thought was so crucial. It wasn't the true prize. The commander zooms in on the interior of Durin's ship, tracking an encrypted data cache, a hidden file that shouldn't exist. It's as if the ship itself knows it holds something valuable, something the Dominion never expected. Something so important that even Durin, in his desperate escape, hasn't yet realized its true worth. Commander Durin whispers more to himself. No, this was never about the data. He's carrying something far more valuable. His hand clenches around the armrest of his chair. The truth has just begun to reveal itself, and the weight of it pulls the room into silence. The commander rises slowly from his chair, the movement deliberate, calculating. He stands tall, his eyes darkened with resolve. The officers in the room straighten, awaiting his next command. His voice is calm, yet carries the chilling authority of someone who knows his orders will be followed without question. Commander Turin, turning to his officers. "He won't escape next time." The words hang in the air, heavy with finality. There's no question in his mind. Turin is a problem, one that must be eradicated. Commander Turin, cold, decisive. "Activate the Hunter fleet, we will find him, and this time there will be no escape." The officers exchange brief glances, acknowledging the severity of the command. In an instant, systems across the flagship power up, alert lights flashing in rapid succession. Weapons hum to life. Their target is set. Turin's fate has been sealed, and now the hunt begins. Beyond the flagship, in the cold depths of space, a dormant fleet stirs to life. Dozens of warships, hidden in shadow docking bays, begin to move. Engines roar to life in unison. Weapon systems priming, shields flickering as the ships prepare for the chase. The Dominion's Hunter fleet, a deadly squadron designed for the most precise, relentless operations, awakens. Their targets are clear. The hunt for Turin has begun. Narrator, Turin's fate unknown. The storm is coming. He won't know it until it's too late. The commander's final command echoes in the cold vacuum of space, signaling the beginning of a relentless pursuit. And somewhere, in the depths of the cosmos, Turin, unaware, drifts further into the unknown.